Ukraine hits Russian chemical plant with UK-made Storm Shadow missiles.
Ukraine has hit a Russian chemical plant with Storm Shadow missiles, its military said on Tuesday, referring to the UK-made long-range weapon. Calling the strike a successful hit that penetrated the Russian air defense system, Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces said they were still assessing the outcome of the massive strike. Hours later, Russia launched a heavy drone and missile attack on several Ukrainian regions, leaving 6 people dead, including 2 children, according to President Volodymyr Zelensky. Emergency power outages were in place in Kyiv itself, as well as the Kyiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions, and reports said Russia had targeted thermal power plants. 2 people were killed in strikes on the capital, and a woman and 2 children were killed in the wider Kyiv region, officials said. Meanwhile, Russian authorities have not yet commented on the strike on the Bryansk chemical plant, although it has warned the West not to give Ukraine long-range missiles. Ukraine's military said it was imperative to target Russian facilities that play a key role in Moscow's war against Ukraine. Quote, "The Bryansk chemical plant is a key facility of the aggressor state's military-industrial complex," it said on X. It added that the plant produces gunpowder, explosives, and rocket fuel components used in ammunition and missiles employed by the enemy to shell the territory of Ukraine. The attack came on the same day that UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and other European leaders vowed to ramp up the pressure on Russia's economy and its defense industry until Russian leader Vladimir Putin is ready to make peace. A joint statement, co-signed by the Ukrainian, German, French, Italian, Polish, Danish, Finnish, EU, and Norwegian leaders, added that Ukraine must be in the strongest position before, during, and after any ceasefire. The mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, said on Wednesday that debris from Russia's overnight strikes had badly damaged a number of buildings in the capital. The head of the city's military administration, Timur Tichenko, said 2 people died in the capital. Witnesses heard explosions that sounded like air defense units in operation, the Reuters news agency reported. The latest attacks came after a meeting at the White House last week between Donald Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, during which the U.S. leader indicated he was not ready to supply sought-after Tomahawk cruise missiles to Kyiv. Trump initially agreed with Putin to hold talks in Budapest regarding the war in Ukraine, possibly in the coming weeks. But that plan was put on hold on Tuesday, with Trump saying he did not want a wasted meeting. In remarks at the White House, the U.S. president indicated that a key sticking point remained Moscow's refusal to cease fighting along the current front line. Just last month, Trump appeared to take a major shift in his position towards ending the war, saying Kyiv could win all of Ukraine back in its original form, referring to Ukraine's internationally recognized borders. Ukraine launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. It currently controls about 20% of Ukrainian territory, including the southern Crimea Peninsula, Moscow annexed in 2014.
Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces described the strike as a successful hit that broke through the Russian air defense system, but stated that they were still evaluating the massive strike's results. According to Timur Tkachenko, chief of the city's military administration, 2 persons lost their lives in the capital. According to the Reuters news agency, witnesses heard explosions that sounded like air defense troops in action. The most recent assaults followed a meeting between U.S. President Volodymyr Zelensky and Ukrainian President Donald Trump at the White House last week, where Zelensky said he was not prepared to provide Kyiv with the highly sought-after Tomahawk cruise missiles. At first, Trump and Putin agreed to meet in Budapest to discuss the war in Ukraine, perhaps within the next several weeks. Trump, however, stated that he did not want a wasted meeting and put that plan on hold on Tuesday. The U.S. president said in White House remarks that Moscow's insistence on continuing the battle along the current front line was still a major bone of contention. Trump seemed to make a significant change in his stance on ending the war just last month, when he claimed that Kyiv could win all of Ukraine back in its original form, a reference to the internationally recognized borders of Ukraine. In February 2022, Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. About 20% of Ukrainian territory is currently under its control, including the southern Crimea Peninsula, which Moscow annexed in 2014. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia killed 6 people, including 2 children, in a heavy drone and missile attack on multiple Ukrainian regions a few hours later. In addition to the Kyiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions, Kyiv itself was experiencing emergency power outages, and indications indicated that Russia had targeted thermal power stations. Russian officials have cautioned the West against providing Ukraine with long-range missiles, but they have not yet responded to the attack on the chemical factory in Bryansk. Targeting Russian facilities that are crucial to Moscow's war against Ukraine is essential, according to Ukraine's military, which stated on X that the Bryansk chemical plant is a key facility of the aggressor state's military-industrial complex. It stated that the facility produces gunpowder, explosives, and rocket fuel components used in ammunition and missiles employed by the enemy to shell the territory of Ukraine. On the same day that the incident occurred, European leaders, including UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, pledged to intensify the pressure on Russia's economy and its defense industry until Russian President Vladimir Putin is ready to make peace. Ukraine must be in the strongest position before, during, and after any ceasefire, according to a joint declaration co-signed by the leaders of Ukraine, Germany, France, Italy, Poland, Denmark, Finland, the EU, and Norway.